Hey everyone, welcome back to the Track Limits podcast. We're here at Creator Club in Toronto. Guys, F1 is back. We're back.
Yes.
Go. Things are competitive now.
That was a competitive race.
Yeah, it was nail biting. Those last few laps,
Yeah.
I was sitting in my edge of my seat being like, can he do it? Can he do it? Like we were chatting before we even recorded.
Yeah.
Do you think 2 laps Lando would have gotten Max?
I think so.
Even on the last lap, I think he was 7/10 coming off that straight.
Yeah.
So if he kept it within, I think 6/10 on the next lap, he would have gotten.
And he didn't have DRS even going into that final run.
No.
He didn't.
So it was basically in that high-speed section in turn 2 and turn 6, Lando was jumping like 2-3 tenths, and then he was maintaining the rest of the lap.
Yeah.
So I think we've realized what Max is, if he's not confident in the front end, it's game on.
Yeah.
Game on. And it's also a huge indication for the McLaren upgrades as well. Because obviously a lot of people after Miami were like, well, they got lucky with the safety car.
Yeah.
Now it's like, you can't deny that McLaren has come alive.
Yeah.
But it also shows because Lando during the second stint, right after he switched to the hards, he was like, guys, why is my pace so slow? But the whole time, the Ferraris were just pushing so hard to be at pace with him. And he's like, well, I'm also pushing, but I'm not seeing the same results. But then when the lower the fuel got, he just, like, it was like a flip of a switch, and that car came even more alive in that tire.
Yeah.
And then he was able to just push it on Max even more. And then Ferrari just fell back.
I think it was like, as much as we heard the team radio messages, we didn't know at what lap we heard him. They could have been delayed.
Yeah.
But I think Lando was definitely conserving those tires, because if you looked at the tire, he had 5 lap older tires than the likes of Max and Leclerc behind.
Yeah.
But I think what you said is correct. Leclerc pushed very hard, probably drained battery.
Way too soon.
Not wrecked the tires, but maybe overheated them. Lando was cruising, and then those last 10 laps were like, let's go. But it's so cool to have that battle as well, because we know Ferrari are right there.
Yeah.
Now McLaren are right there.
Yep.
And like if Max was struggling with today's car, look at Perez. Like, not that we had a little incident, we ran off track, he lost a couple of seconds, but it did look at one stage that he was just struggling with the car. Now I know they kept him out for a very long time in those tires, but like Max is definitely at a great ability, but Lando is right there now.
Oh, yeah. Look how much pressure he was under. And he was getting frustrated, even for the simplest things as getting a blue marker or passing Ricardo. He's like, mate, he didn't give me enough room. Like, come on. He gave you enough room.
It compromised his... So in that corner, you know, when you're up the hill,
entry speed.
He wanted to be on the right-hand side of the turn, and Ricardo just was right there. So he had to go around him, compromising his speed.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll have a friendly little chat with him afterwards.
It was also cool, though, the POV of Lando and some of those final laps, to see him sliding. Like, he was on the limit. It almost felt like we were watching qualifying.
That was scary.
Yeah.
That was scary.
Yeah. But, like, I think them being in contention now, like you mentioned, Ferrari being in contention, it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, 100%. And it's honestly the only one that did surprise us, as we were mentioning, was Piastri. He has now the exact same car. He was still fighting with a person like Carlos who didn't seem like he agreed with these new upgrades. All the way from practice, he was complaining that it's not as big as what everyone thought it was going to be. And he just looked like he was not having a great race himself. And Piastri was just stuck behind him on that second stint all the way through.
For a good few laps as well. So, yeah, when we were commenting, like Henny, I think you were disagreeing with me that I think Piastri's got great pace, speed.
Yeah.
But then I will have to agree with him. Like, I don't feel he's got I don't know if the word is the racecraft, but like he can catch up to someone, and maybe he struggles in that dirty air. Whereas you look at Lando, he catches someone and he's able to make that next little step to get him in a position where he can force an error or overtake him. Even on his second last lap, he was weaving on Max just so Max could see him in his wingman. Just he was like, hello, I'm right here.
It was nice too to see, Lewis Hamilton pass the Red Bull today, which was very nice to see. Last year, actually, if you remember, you had Verstappen lap Lewis Hamilton in Imola, which was incredibly...
2 years ago.
Discouraging. But he must have felt great to be able to get by Perez on the long straight, which was nice.
It's funny, though. Like, Checo did not defend the other 3 drivers that overtook him, and then he decided to do it with Lewis. I was like, okay, I feel it. I see you.
Yeah, that was a little bit like, because he basically just pulled over, maybe slowed down for someone to go by.
Yeah.
And then Lewis comes, he's like, elbows out. He's like, I got this.
He's still living 2021.
Yeah.
It's like anything for elbows out for Lewis if he's behind me.
And Max, what can we say about Max? I mean, what a weekend. Obviously, we are all passionate about sim racing. And it is incredible genuinely incredible to see someone so dominant in F1, but also as dominant in the online world of sim racing.
Yeah.
You know, to go and do a 24-hour race. I know a lot of people were like, how is he going to do it? It's like, obviously, he has a team. He had to come in and do specific stints, but he was up from 8:30 p.m. Imola time to about 10:15 p.m. Imola time. And he was up again in the morning. And when he left off this morning, he had a 35-second lead for his team, giving it to the next teammate. So
That's crazy.
2 wins, literally, like Christian Horner said, 2 wins for Max Verstappen. You know, probably the most complete driver right now that we've ever seen.
100%. At this point, yes. I want to see the next few races. I also think Red Bull is struggling. They don't want to admit it, but I think that car, with the upgrades that they're bringing or what they thought was going to happen with these upgrades, I don't think it's happening. Because
Did they bring upgrades?
They did. They did this weekend.
This weekend?
Yeah. I think floor of the sides.
Front wing, too?
Front wing.
Yeah.
So, like, they brought substantial upgrades, and maybe that's why it hasn't clicked in, and they struggled in FP1 and FP2.
Yeah.
And they just reverted back to a more balanced car, which we saw Max taking pole off of that.
Yeah.
And Checo, honestly, if he didn't have that mishap or miscommunication in, what was it, in qualifying.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then I think he would have also made into Q3 and probably been in between those Ferraris if he had a good lap.
Yeah, like Perez have been able to maintain. I don't see him attacking positions, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see because like what McLaren have done, it's an eye opener for the rest of the field.
Oh yeah, it's
like
doable.
you look at Aston Martin, like Alonso. I actually didn't catch the start of the race, but why was he starting from the pit? Did he have to? He must have changed something.
Must have changed
100%. Yeah, balance. Because when he qualifying was like P16, 17, he
was back.
He was back, but he had a big off section. Remember where Lewis went off today? And like, I don't know the corner where it dips down and runs up.
Yeah.
Alonso had he was like
Aqua Minerale.
Yeah, that's the one.
Everyone loves saying that. Aqua Minerale.
Yeah, maybe he damaged the floor. He had to change it. But Stroll, you got to give credit to Stroll. Like
literally,
he saved that team today because he got them points and he did well. Like I think was it 9th he got up to, or is it
9th?
Yeah, because Perez was 8th. Yeah. So that's good. That's good.
Great. Started 13th, made 4 positions up, and I believe it's his 150th race start.
Wow,
which is pretty cool. I actually thought if not Lando, I would have put him as driver of the day. I just felt like it was an underrated performance overall. Like in a car that clearly is like the 5th or 6th best car on the grid now.
Yeah, it's looking like it.
You know, it's pretty incredible.
I thought you'd be giving Hulkenburg driver today. Like, okay, forget the driver, but think of Haas this year. Like, they've gone leaps and bounds. If you think of last year, they're competing with Williams, and both those teams are fine. You look at it now, Williams have 0.
But I still feel like that the problems with Haas are still there today, which is they're really good, especially Hulk on the Saturday. On the Sunday, though, it's always a gamble. And it's like, typically they're going to be outside the points by a bit. Sure, they've made a lot of strides and like improvements overall, but like they're still a backmarker team. Like I don't necessarily see them as a, overall as a team that'll compete for points every weekend on a Sunday.
I'll agree and disagree with that.
Yeah.
Like, because if you want to say that like, oh, they're great on a Saturday, I'll say the same about Aston Martin.
True.
A light fuel load, that car is amazing. And Hulkenburg, light fuel load and fresh softs. He's insane. Like, he was driving insane this weekend. But then you add fuel to that car. It was like McLaren last year as well, or the Mercedes of last year. But if you look at Aston Martin, they poached a lot of these head engineers and head mechanics last year. They have a bigger budget. Whereas you look at Haas, they're kind of like it's nitty gritty, and they have a new team principal this year.
Yeah.
So like I give credit to Haas there because like there's a bit of pressure coming into it, and if you do the comparison between them and Williams, then they're rock and rolling.
Yeah. And I really think that's the key difference, even with leadership change, was that this new principal has a lot more understanding of what the car is because he was the technical chief at that time before Gunther. And I think that's really what's shaping it is I think they're so focused on forget everything else. Let's just fix and have a good race pace car. And that was, I think, their main focus this year, which is why their degradation has been fixed. They among the midfield, they can keep up now. Like we've even seen Magnussen on that second stint with those mediums come alive. He was overtaking pretty much everybody in that field, in that middle field. So I think it's doable that they can be battling with even, I think V-Carb is on a different upward trajectory, which we've seen double Q3s in qualifying, race pace. Yuki, again, well done. poor start for both of them on the off start, which made them lose a few positions. But other than that, I think Aston Martin and VCarb are going to be in it if there's no real advancement for Aston Martin. And then Haas and Williams are, like you guys said, it's going to be a battle between those two for those extra 1 point, maybe here and there on some races.
I love seeing Magnussen. I feel like he's so terrified now of the stewards.
He is.
Seeing him slow down so much to let the faster cars go by. He's like, I'm not getting a penalty at all.
He's got 10 penalty points. If he gets one more, it's a race ban. It's a race ban.
But also think about it. He's also up for a re-sign. Like he hasn't been confirmed yet, and he has to show other teams that he can have a clean race without building all these points up. And I really think Haas will clean house for next year, and I don't think he might be back on that seat. So it will be interesting to see if he's doing this to prove a point that he still has the racecraft to race.
Yeah. Come the midsummer break, the rumor mill and the circus that it will bring will be insane. Because there's so many people that are unconfirmed for like next year.
And not just drivers. Even like, I mean, Adrian Newey, for example. Right? Add him into the pod. There's like a lot of just cool... I feel like a lot of people on like Lewis's team as well. There's a lot of rumors of people on Lewis's team moving over. Some already have, some are on gardening leave and don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be a wild couple of months. And like you mentioned, it's going to trickle into next year as well.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is great. What about the final thing to really quickly talk about in the race? The kind of final three teams, Alpine, Kick.
We forgot about Alpine.
Right. Yeah, I know. Everyone does typically. What about them? Like, where are they? Are we seeing anything that we like from Williams or Alpine or Kick?
Yeah, I mean, Williams, we were, for even to compare with them, Alpine, we were saying that Alpine was so overweight and they're going to have to shed weight. There was reports that Williams was 13 kgs over. Yeah, and they were starting to, now they're like, okay, we need to shed some weight. They even had like new floor of like vinyl that they were using to shed weight, which is like the one place you don't want to shed weight because that is your chassis.
Hey, those floors got wrecked multiple times.
Exactly. So, I mean, Williams has to figure it out. I really think they had made a drastic change from last year, and we talked about this in previous episodes, and now they're paying the price for it. But I think they're seeing long term that this chassis and this way of building a car will lead them to fighting points consistently. And then Alpine is like slowly inching away. Double Q2 appearances. Like they're like, okay, we're going to silently do this. We heard all the crap talking the first 3 races. We're going to just eat it up and see where it goes. We're just going to do this silently. And I think they're going to slowly slip in into Q3 maybe actually post summer break.
Yeah.
I see that happening.
But Kick, nowhere. Probably Kick is, I would imagine, the worst team on the grid right now.
100%.
Which is very sad.
Yeah. There was an interesting one this weekend as well. Bottas was seen having a 20-minute conversation with James Vowles in the Williams tent, which would make you believe that like Sargent would be at the end of his contract. Bottas steps in there. He's been with Williams before, and he's a consistently good driver as well, but he also has a lot of knowledge of, he's been with Williams, he's been with Mercedes, he's now been with there, so he can have a lot of input, as much as Albon can have input, but it's great to have both those drivers pushing for changes. That's what sometimes lacks when you have a rookie and a senior driver, and like Albon, he's a senior driver, but like you still, it's good to have a bit more experience there, like Bottas.
James Vowles is done being the junior team. He's done. He wants to build a team that can get points consistently every race.
That's why I don't think James Vowles cares right now that Williams are the back, because he did flip the script. He said before he was changing everything. Last year, Williams had one of the highest top-end speeds. This year, they were nowhere near that. Yeah, remember they used to have the wheel with the dash, the LCD, and it's all changed. He said himself, like, he's going to go ground up. You're talking about them changing the floor. So I don't expect Williams to be there this year, but I like the way he's not scared to change everything.
Yeah, I'm excited for that team, honestly. Look, again, both those teams, let them go silently. Let them develop. Let it be a development race more than on track race for those two teams, and we'll see where they end up.
Agreed. Monaco is the next race. Obviously, we had the historic Monaco race happen, I think about a week and a half ago. In between the two race weekends, saw Adrian Newey become Max Verstappen on track somehow. Like, I don't know if you saw the overtake he had.
Yeah, that was
incredible. Formula E's raced in Monaco as well, and it actually had the most overtakes in the season so far, in the Formula E season in Monaco.
Yeah.
So my question to y'all is, obviously qualifying is incredibly important, and McLaren especially will need to qualify high if they want to compete for the win. But do we anticipate this Monaco race to be different than any of the previous ones we've seen?
Qualifying, yes. Race will probably be the same in terms of there's going to be less overtakes, unless like last year we get rain and it really changed up the complete order of things. I think I really don't have if this was a few other races, I would be like, yeah, Max got this even in qualifying. I really don't think they got it this weekend. I think it can be anyone's with qualifying, and at that pace, it's a pit change concern of during the race. It would be a pit change kind of aspect. But qualifying, it can be anybody. It can be anybody.
Yeah, I think you're right with that one. I'm definitely getting my weather clock out. I'm praying to the weather gods, like let it rain, let it pour down, but give it a dry start and then piss rain. So it's like it spiced it all up. But yeah, you're kind of right. Like it is a toss up. But your key favorites would be you've got Max, Lando, and I'm going to put Sainz before Leclerc. Like if there's someone going to throw a span in the works, like I reckon it could be those top three fighting. Sainz will risk anything. He'll put it in the wall to risk it.
True, but it's Charles's home race.
But he's had terrible luck in that.
Yeah, that's why he wants to flip the script now.
That's why I wouldn't put Leclerc in there. Not that he gets in his own head, but he has incredibly bad luck at Monaco.
He is on a consistent trend, though, of outperforming Carlos in the last few races, not even today.
Don't worry about it.
No, I'm still going to...
We don't look at those trends.
We don't look at those
trends.
I'm the same boat as Eddie. I think Max, Lando, and Charles are the people to look out for.
Yeah.
But I would love to be proved wrong, either by Oscar or by Carlos. Yes. Let's see pole from one of them.
You're not shooting for Lewis Hamilton?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Actually, at this point, me and Lewis are very similar. We're both checked out from this year, and we're just waiting for next year. So very, very excited for that.
Honestly, there's no long straights. There's sweeping S's, yes. And then very short corners. Mercedes might be in it. You never know.
Don't say that, Henny. Don't give me hope.
I honestly I don't know your opinion, but I don't like Monaco. Like I like the hype around it, and I like watching the qualifying. I think the qualifying's exciting because it's like, oh my god, it's all or nothing. Come race day, if the weather's forecasted all dry weather,
it's over.
You might as well turn it off.
That's why the race is the qualifying.
Yeah, but that's the excitement comes. Exactly. Now, like, was it last year when it rained? Oh, that was a completely different ballgame.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But even then, even last year, Alonso
could have won.
When the rain came
last year. He had to pit again. Remember, they made him pit again.
I just remembered, was it last year that the cranes got to pick up the Red Bull and everyone was just taking pictures on the floor?
That was 2 years ago, no?
Was it 2 years ago?
No, that was last year with Checo's demise. Started from that race.
And you could just see the intricate of like all the floor. And then Williams lifted up and I was like...
It's just flat.
It's just flat. It's just flat. It's like a piece of plywood spray painted black. It's like, god damn.
James was like, oh, Lord. Yeah. We just got exposed.
Monaco is going to be exciting. Hope you guys enjoyed the Imola Grand Prix. Let us know in the comments if you agree or disagree with any of the predictions that we've made for the upcoming Monaco Grand Prix. It should be exciting. If you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure to also check out some of our other episodes. We just released a pretty awesome guest episode with Matt Dennington from McLaren. We have some pretty cool guests as well that we're going to be sharing very soon. So check out our next episode and we'll see you guys soon.